Hello, welcome back to the Responsal. Today I want to talk about happiness because that's always the what do you want? You want happiness, right? Um, I came across this concept that happiness is the lack of unhappiness, which I have found very much to be true. Um, if you wake up every day and you stub your toe on a table, uh, the obvious thing should be to remove the table, or just prevent it from happening every day. Remove your resistances. Um, I've been calling it developing a life of meh. Like, you don't want to aim for a 10 out of 10 every day. That's not the goal. The goal is to get where you're not unhappy, but you want to run that 5, where that calm contentment. Um, that needs to be the overall goal. If things are happy, great. If things are sad, you know that it's going to pass. It's fine. Um, so when we talk about removing resistances, removing unhappiness, so this is craft the world. Um, Obviously, you build ladders, right? Because if they just try to climb the walls, there's a chance that they fall. I mean, there's more problems. So it makes sense to build the ladders. Uh, yeah, go away. You also want to, like, I'm building a flatter tunnel for them to go on, because if they're constantly climbing up things, it slows them down. So remove the resistances is the whole point here. Um, the next thought is going to be, but Sharon, I want happiness, not meh. Well, the more happiness you live in, the more of a high you get. It's like sugar. And the more you either need to get more versus just having this healthy, like 80% of the time that's sustainable, right? Um, just the not fighting life is kind of the best way to go about that. Um, Ideally, when you see problems, like trash in your house, for instance, like, you would just take care of it then and there. But life's messy, right? Oh no, no, no. Ah, yeah, go fight those. I knew that could have happened. I'm sorry. I should have just taken care of them. Perfect example. I should have just took care of them. But sometimes you get distracted by other things, so you don't. So I do make it a point. I would say about once a week, just really whenever I feel the resistance happening and I have a second, I'll stop and, okay, what problems have there been? I used to be really bad at trash Tetris, where I would just keep piling it and piling it. And eventually I just had to, okay, just take out the trash, just be done with it. Um, this eventually leads when I stop to take care of things like whole cleaning sessions, but it tends to make my not only them a week, but really the whole month easier by just taking care of it. Um, Instead of just, oh yeah, eventually I need to take care of that, because it becomes this, every time I see it, it fills up the brain clutters of, oh, I eventually need to do that. Oh, I eventually need to do that. And it clears up that space. Um, Part of this also expands into the dopamine high. A lot of people in the productive community have been talking about dopamine. If you're not part of that community, it's dopamine is a hormone. It's the excitement hormone. When you first start dating someone, dopamine is that part that's, oh, this is exciting. Um, Getting a package in the mail, anticipating getting a new iPhone, that kind of stuff. It's not bad in itself. Evolutionary, it was very important. Um, but when you live for the dopamine spike, that's not good. It's not good. Um, A guy that's addicted to the dopamine high will enjoy the chase of a relationship, but as soon as it starts tripping out, he'll look for the next high, which could mean either cheating or just straight up finding somebody else, or even asking for things like, wearing lingerie and things like that, instead of letting the oxytocin and the vasopressin take over and develop into a calm, secure relationship. A woman who's addicted to online shopping will constantly anticipate the package arriving. So after that package is finally got there, they look for the next thing, and they always want that package to be coming. A writer who forces herself to write when the imagination isn't ready is going to make a bad story and harm her relationship with writing, because it slowly teaches her that writing feels miserable. That's the overall theme here. Want less, practice gratitude. Maybe it's something you need to buy a thing, but you actually look around and realize you can make things work. It's actually my camera. I've actually been playing with ChatGPT as far as figuring all this YouTube stuff out. And one of the things it recommended was actually raising my camera a little bit. Well, how am I going to do this? So I have a coaster taped to a ruler, which is taped to my monitor right now. It works. Instead of just buying like a $25 thing, I just made it work. And really, most of the time when I stop and think about it, I can make things work with what I have. That was the point. And even people in your life, it'd be great to have, other professional people or something like that in my life, but you know what? They'll come when they are, and I'm very happy with the people that are in my life. And acknowledging that is important. Going into enjoying what you have, impulse control. So this is Norland. It's a funny kind of a story game where this is my king. He's a nice fat king. And he's got problems. Everyone's got a positive and a flaw. His is he's careless. He's more likely to be poisoned. They all have their impulse problems. Some of them are alcohol. They call it, there's drugs in the game. It's basically nectar. They call it nectar. So that there's addiction problems. There's cheating on their spouse problems, and it creates all sorts of drama. It keeps the game interesting, but yeah. If I present my dog with a biscuit, the dog's gonna eat the biscuit. There's no impulse control involved. You do. You can't control it. One of the small ways that I fast, for instance. I fast. Fasting, I eat 1 hour a day. So one of the ways that I built up to that was small increments and reasonable leeways, right? So can I wait 5 more minutes? And if I was really hungry, yes, I would let myself have a beef jerky thing or something. And that would usually sustain me. Or if, I'm just gonna have a glass of water. That was a popular thing for a time, and that does work. It just is a way of delaying. And eventually it just becomes easier and easier as time goes on. Just as long as you can get a grip on your impulse control, whether that's, I'm not just talking about food, I'm talking about just if you get angry about something, usually once the impulse is gone, the whole situation is fine. Getting emotional intelligence is ultimately where I'm going with this, but being able to observe the emotion instead of living in it. The feels are nice. They can exist. I'm not saying suppress them, but they don't dictate what you do. Now you still need pleasures in your life. I'm not saying, just cut out all the fun stuff, but evaluate what makes you happy. Uh, Movies, for instance, it takes a lot for me to want to watch a movie. Well, a lot of them just don't even look worth my time anymore. I have a list in my Me files, which I went over the common planner in another video, where I keep a list of good movies that I go back to. And there's not a lot of newer ones that are on there, but that's fine. I would much rather spend time either gaming or watching YouTubes, where I get more of that personalized enjoyment. An example, wine. I don't mind wine. I have friends that worship it, that's their thing. It's not that I'm an alcoholic or anything like that, but I realize that it still takes time. It's still not something that adds more joy than anything else. Like gaming fulfills that itch. Wine doesn't. It's just there. So I cut it out. Um, and that's a personalized thing. I'm not saying, oh, you have to do this. It brings more focus to things that do help. The other thing with happiness is purpose. That's a whole nother ball of wax. But ultimately, you are going to want to find, when you get more of your alignment going, you're going to get closer to who you are, which ultimately is going to lead to, what would I die for? What hill would I die on for whatever purpose? I'll do a whole different video on that, because that's its own thing. Anyway, I'm rambling. Happiness doesn't have to be, finding your perfect life. It's just removing a table, when you stub your toe in the morning. It's removing little sources of suffering. And one day it'll be just, life's not bad. That. I would love to know if any of this resonated with you. Tell me some stories. That'd be great. Thanks for hanging out with me. Good night.